what is your story? Did you do the corporate Americas, turn over here? How did you start? How did you get into real estate?
Yeah. So I did the corporate America, graduated college, my first job was in sales, cold calling, 100 dials a day. One of the best jobs that I'll never want to do again. It was boiler room mentality.
Oh yeah.
But it was incredible, and it was for a small business. So had to like set your goals, learn how to reverse engineer your goals based off different KPIs and leading indicators. Did that, and then shifted into recruitment. And then, so I did agency recruitment for a little bit, which is headhunting. I did worked as a recruiter for Nestle Purina for a while, and then realized I wanted to go out and do things on my own. I worked for 4 years at my own company. About, let's see, 1 year I was on my own. Second year I hired my first employee. Third year I brought in a business partner. Fourth year built out kind of a team. And so we were, I guess it was like it was in the pandemic when this happened. And so I mean, I guess you're asking me my story, so it might be a little bit longer, but what led me into real estate was I loved the fact of recruitment where I got to go out and meet people locally in St. Louis and build relationships with them. When COVID happened, it was, I mean, it just kind of put a nix to everything in terms of like being in person. So it was actually a really, really good time to be in recruitment because it forced people to do things virtually. Money was at an all-time cheap, right? Money was essentially free. So there was a lot of people dumping money into SaaS startups and technology companies. And the first thing they needed to do was to build out their sales team. And that was my specialty. So I was picking up contracts all over the country, but it was super transactional. It was mostly phone calls, every once in a while, a Zoom call. Majority of the contracts were somewhere in California or bigger markets in St. Louis. And so I had already house hacked a couple of houses, a duplex, and then a townhome. I decided that at one point I was just going to start networking with people because I missed going out and meeting others, especially other business owners. And then I started almost like put myself on a cadence. Like I had to reach out to X amount of people per day on LinkedIn and then go to X amount of coffees. One of the guys I linked up with, a guy named Keith Vollmer, got me into my Kitco's group, my Kitco's coaching group. I was in it because I was like, I want to be around a bunch of business owners. This is perfect. This is exactly what I need. Little did I know, 90% of those people were in the world of real estate. Between Mike and Brian, and even a little bit of Sam and Lucas, they kind of opened up the idea of what working in real estate would be like. And so, and they were all meeting up in person. And I think the two biggest things that I loved about real estate, one was it was an opportunity to work with people while also making friends. And I think that's the funnest way to do business. The second part was everybody seemed to be into personal development. And I wasn't historically a good student. I was in like the bottom 90th percentile or bottom 10 percentile in high school. I barely got through college. But then when I got into reading books I could immediately apply to what I was doing, had a huge passion for it. So you combine this world of everybody's building relationships and doing business together, and everybody's like working on themselves personally and professionally. And it was kind of the perfect storm. So I decided to get out of my recruitment business and jump into real estate.
Did you keep that same team that you established, or did you start all over?
Yeah. So we had a business partner at the time, and he knew he actually mentioned that he thought I should get into real estate because of how I talked about real estate. And so we decided like I was going to make an exit. He would get the company and I would get a 20% revenue share over the next couple of years. So I'd have a runway to get into real estate. And this was, early 2022 when we started talking about it. And so all the stars were aligning and I was like, this is perfect. Let's do it. Well, as soon as I jumped ship, it was July of 2022, which was obviously a pretty difficult time for the world of real estate. Everything changed. It was no longer easy. You couldn't just fall into a deal. I also didn't have a clear vision of really what I wanted to do. And on the back end of that, everything fell apart with the company that we had built. He had a couple of other recruitment businesses that were already running. Our top producer quit. Our bottom person we had to fire, and our middle of the road guy just was not could not pull the trigger. It wasn't his fault. It wasn't my fault. Probably a combination of both of ours. We're still good friends to this day, but I got into real estate saying I wanted to take on rentals. I had basically thrown away all the active income in the past 4 years of what I was doing. And so that's kind of where I was. Yeah. I mean, we can dive into a little bit more if you have any other questions, but no, I put myself in a really uncomfortable position, but obviously most of those you put yourself in turn out to end up being a net win in the long run.